Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor P.N. Kotru from Jammu. Today we are going to discuss about a module entitled Line Defects under paper crystallography and crystal growth. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. We are going to have the concept of line defects, types of line defects, concept of elastic and plastic deformation of solids, determination of shear strength of single crystals, that is the Frankel model, disagreement between theoretically calculated critical resolved shear stress and experimentally measured values, explanation of edge, screw, and mixed dislocations. Now let us first talk about line defects. Line defects are one-dimensional defects. Dislocations are examples of this type of defect. These are of different types: edge dislocations, screw dislocations, and mixed type of dislocations. Before going into further details of these defects, it is necessary to have the background of how the existence of dislocations was realized. We know that on application of stress, solids undergo deformation. The deformation is of two types. One is elastic deformation and the other is plastic deformation. In the case of elastic deformation, the solid regains its original shape when the external stress capital F is removed, as shown in figure 16.1. Plastic deformation is caused by strains which obey Hooke's law. According to Hooke's law, atomic displacements are proportional to the applied force. When the elastic limit of a solid is exceeded, permanent or plastic deformation sets in. In many crystals, it occurs by slip. Theoretical estimates of the elastic limit of perfect crystals yields values 10 raised to the power 3 or 10 raised to the power 4 higher than the lowest observed values. Hardness is a term which is defined as a measure of resistance to deformation. The atomic interpretation of plastic flow of crystals requires the introduction of a new type of lattice defect, namely dislocation. Determination of shear strength of single crystals, that's known as the Frankel's model. We know shear modulus is equal to shear stress by strain. If small d is the interplanar spacing and x is the movement in the x direction, then shear modulus capital G is equal to tau upon x by d, or we can say tau is equal to Gx upon d. Let us estimate the stress that is necessary to produce deformation in crystals. There exists a critical resolved shear stress tau c. For pure metals, tau c ranges between 10 raised to the power 6 to 10 raised to the power 7 dynes per square centimeter. Calculation of theoretical shear stress based on perfect lattice is much larger than the observed values for pure crystals. However, theoretical estimates of the classical limit of perfect crystals yields value 10 raised to the power 3 or 10 raised to the power higher than the lowest observed values. This huge discrepancy between theoretical estimates based on perfect crystals and the actually observed values of real crystals necessitated to bring in the concept of a lattice defect known as dislocation. Frankel model is the one which gives the theoretical estimate of critical resolved shear stress in the case of an ideally perfect crystal. Figure 16.2 shows Frankel model for calculation of theoretical shear strength of a perfect crystal. Frankel in 1926 proposed a simple model for calculating the theoretically shear strength of single perfect crystal. The model as proposed by him is shown in the figure. It shows two adjacent planes with interplanar distance d. On application of shear stress tau in x direction, all the atoms in the upper half plane get displaced. Stress tau is 0 when shear stress has moved the planes a by 2 with respect to each other. At this point, it could go either way when displacement is large, such as to bring atom capital A directly over atom symbolized by capital B. Plot of shear stress against the real relative displacement of the planes from their equilibrium position is shown at the bottom of the figure 16.2. It is clear that tau will vanish for x equal to 2, a by 2, a, etc., etc., where a is the interatomic distance in the direction of x. As first approximation, stress displacement relation is represented by sine function. Tau is equal to Ga upon twice pi d into sine 2 pi x by a. When x tends to 0, tau tends to Gx upon d. Critical shear stress tau c, at and above which the lattice becomes unstable, is given by the maximum value of tau, or tau c is equal to Ga upon twice pi d when theta is equal to 2 pi x by a equal to pi by 2, or x is equal to a by 4, and if a is equal to d, then tau c is equal to g by 2 pi, which is approximately equal to 1/6 of g. That means the ideal critical resolved shear stress is of the order of 1/6 of the shear modulus. Shear modulus G for single crystals of tin whose chemical formula is Sn, silver, which is chemically represented as Ag, and aluminium, Al, is approximately of the order of 10 raised to power 11 dynes per square centimeter. The experimental value of the elastic limit is much smaller than suggested by Frankel model. The above equation gives as tau c equal to g by 6. Since g is of the order of 10 raised to power 11 dynes per square centimeter, the theoretical shear stress tau c is of the order of 10 raised to power 10 dynes per square centimeter, which is several orders of magnitude larger than the observed values for pure crystals. However, the experimental values for the maximum resolved shear stress as required to start the plastic flow in metals were then reported to be approximately of the order of 10 raised to power minus 4 capital G, which is not in agreement with the theoretical results obtained on the basis of Frankel model. The recent work has shown that for bulk copper and zinc plastic deformation starts at stresses of the order of 10 raised to power minus 9 G. The observed low values of the shear strength cannot be explained without the presence of imperfections that can act as source of mechanical weakness in real crystals. The Frankel model considers the crystals to be perfect. In 1934, Orowan, Polanyi, and Taylor proposed the existence of a new defect, namely edge dislocation, while in 1939 it was Burgers who proposed existence of another type of dislocation known as screw dislocation to explain the discrepancy between theoretically estimated and experimentally measured values of tau c. It is now well established that a type of defect known as dislocation exists in crystals which is responsible for slip on application of small stresses to the crystal. Now we shall take up the concept of edge dislocation. Taylor and Orowan were the first who interpreted plastic deformation of solids by introducing the concept of edge dislocation. A dislocation is a line, imperfection, forming the boundary within the crystal of a slipped area. Ideally, a crystal on application of stress deforms when planes of atoms slide over one another just like cards in a deck. We say 1 unit of slip on a slip plane has occurred if every atom on one side of that plane has moved into a position which was originally occupied by its nearest neighbor in the direction of slip. As such, the unit slip does not disturb the crystal perfection. However, in real crystals, slip is not uniform over a slip plane. Suppose unit slip has occurred over only a part of a slip plane as shown in figure 16.3, while the rest of the plane has remained unslipped. The figure shows unit slip has occurred over the area capital L, M, N, O. LO is a line which divides slipped and the unslipped part and so forms the boundary within the crystal. The boundary LO of the slipped area is an edge dislocation. The edge dislocation LO is normal to the slip vector. In fact, both parts of the crystal are displaced relative to each other by an amount whose magnitude and direction is given by the vector B called the Burgers vector, which is perpendicular to the dislocation line. This kind of dislocation is called an edge dislocation. The dislocation does disturb the crystal perfection. If one looks at the atoms as viewed along LO, the situation appears to be as shown in figure 16.4. The dislocation is a region where one notices a severe atomic misfit and the atoms are not properly surrounded by their neighbors. The exact arrangement of atoms at the center of dislocation not being exactly known. It may, however, be visualized as being an edge of extra half plane of atoms. As dislocation is symbolized by the sign perpendicular as shown in figure 16.4. The dislocation can be made experimentally observable by several techniques like chemical etching, thermal etching, decoration, X-ray diffraction topography, and electron microscopy. In figure 16.4 is shown the edge of an extra half plane of atoms. The second type of dislocation is screw dislocation. Now let us describe screw dislocation. Burgers introduced the idea of screw dislocation in 1939. It is also called Burgers dislocation. In this case, the displacement small b, that is the Burgers vector, is parallel to the dislocation as is shown in figure 16.5. In this type of dislocation, the crystal is not composed of a set of parallel planes but consists of a screw ramp which rises along the dislocation line. One way is to visualize formation of a screw dislocation by referring to figure 16.6. The slip that results into creation of a screw type dislocation. Here also the figure shows unit slip has occurred over the area capital L, M and O. Capital L, O is a boundary within the crystal of the slipped area capital L, M and O. The screw dislocation capital L, O is parallel to the slip vector. To understand why this dislocation is called screw dislocation, let a sharp cut be made part way through a crystal and press the crystal so that one side of the cut goes down by one atomic spacing with respect to the other as shown in figure 16.7. The line capital LO along the edge of the cut is by definition screw dislocation. The line capital LO is parallel to the line capital MN, which is parallel to the slip vector. As a result of this type of distortion, the crystal is not made up of parallel atomic planes one above the other. In fact, it is a single atomic plane in the form of a helicoid or a spiral ramp. Figure 16.6 shows unit slip having occurred over L, M and O, which has resulted into screw dislocation. LO is screw dislocation which is parallel to the slip vector. In figure 16.7 is the illustration of screw dislocation viewed in a different way. Now we shall talk about mixed dislocations. The two types of dislocations, namely edge and screw dislocations, described so far are straight dislocation lines. The boundary separating slipped from the unslipped part is straight in both the types of dislocations. If the boundary between the deformed and undeformed part of the crystal has a curved form of the type shown in figure 16.8, then at capital L the dislocation is parallel to the slip vector and as such is in the screw orientation. Near about the point capital N, the dislocation is in the edge orientation. This type of dislocation has both the components, that is, edge and screw dislocations, and so is called as mixed dislocations. In figure 16.8 is shown how mixed dislocations are formed. So, students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. We have learned about elastic and plastic deformation of solids. The Frankel model for calculation of theoretical shear strength of a perfect crystal is described. It is shown that the ideal critical resolved shear stress is of the order of 1/6 of the shear modulus. The discrepancy between theoretically calculated critical resolved shear stress and experimentally measured values has been discussed. The concept of line defects is given. Edge, screw, and mixed type of dislocations are schematically explained. Thank you.